How's it going, everybody? This is episode 7 of the Garden Groove podcast. This week we had Timothy Burkhead on.
I met Timothy. He was also auditioning for the Maggie Rose band. This is at some point last year when it was cold out. And he auditioned directly after me, so I got to meet him for a little second. And then he's one of those people that you just like see and hear about around town all the time. So I would just hear his name pop up from time to time. My buddy, Dr. Charlie Couts, who his name is dropped frequently on this podcast. He's a good friend with Timothy as well. So I thought might as well get him on the podcast. And yeah, he had a lot of good things to say. The dude has a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors right now. So he's cool to talk to. He's got a lot of good things to say and got a lot of cool, innovative things that he's working on.
And we do say multiple times that it's our 8th episode during this podcast.
Do we really?
Yeah, we do. And the whole time I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the 7th.
Oh, that is
But
right.
I wasn't going to sit there and try to figure it out and count on air. So this is the 7th episode, not the 8th, even though we think it's the 8th on the podcast. So without further ado, here's Timothy Burkhead. How's it going, everyone? We are here at the Garden Groove podcast once again for what I think might be the 8th episode. Damn it, I don't know. We'll go in. We'll throw in a little asterisk with the right number. This episode we have Timothy Burkhead coming in with us. He's a drummer. He drums for Maggie Rose. He has his own company called Q's that he's going to get into, as well as a whole bunch of other endeavors and accolades.
Yeah, many things.
Yeah, we'll dive into all that.
And yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Excited to have
Thank
you.
you. Howdy toddy. It's good to be
Hottie
here.
toddy. We just
found
established
out.
that. Yeah.
What school did you go to?
CU Boulder.
Great.
It's a little
Howdy
different.
Anyway,
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Awesome.
But we met a long time ago when you were auditioning for Maggie Rose.
Yeah.
Because I auditioned right before you.
That's right.
And I think we
way.
might have just shook hands. Yeah, whatever. I was setting up the drum kit with all of them, and we auditioned. And then you walk in, and like you have such a good, like, calm, professional way to you. Then I'm like, oh shit, this guy's got it.
Oh, thank
Like,
you. Wait, was this time last year or before that?
It might have been this time last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
it's okay. Yeah, but it's been so cool to see like how far Maggie Rose has gone since then, and all the stuff you've been able to do. And
It's been a hell of a
cruise
year.
ship, and yeah,
it's
been really cool. And then we also know Dr. Charlie Couts, the musician's physician. We got to get him on here
yeah,
too.
we do.
Listen, if you're not getting cracked up once a week
Yeah,
by Dr. Couts, then
get a little
Yeah.
neck
Yeah.
snap.
Yeah,
once
it's
a
true what
week.
they say. Everything is a big
Yeah,
but after you feel fantastic.
yeah, yeah.
I'm overdue for one of those. So I
Yeah.
need one.
Hey,
good.
get him on here.
We'll get him on here.
He'll get you a nice discount.
Yeah,
That
see
thing's
if I
free in
can-
this life, but he's got
Of course.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
see if
right.
we can get a little discount going.
He's good. Yeah, we got to get him on. But the Maggie Rose thing has been so cool. And it seems, I didn't know you beforehand, but it seems like it's been a really kind of crazy, almost flip of a switch in some ways. And all the touring you've been able to do. And
You know, Maggie's been one of those artists that just kind of, she's been ready for a minute,
sure.
right? And it's funny how this happens in a lot of things just kind of in life. You feel like you're ready, right? And then you like get to that point, something happens, there's a setback, and then you get to the next level and you're like, actually, I wasn't even there yet. Now, I'm
Yep.
not saying that's her case. She's always been kind of this high caliber, but something about this last year and this record that's about to come out, I think this is like truly, truly her time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
cool.
We've known each other for a while, though.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So the way I even met Maggie was, this goes back to Oxford, hotty toddy.
Yeah.
My dad, who's a professor at Ole Miss still, percussion professor, Ricky Burkhead, my guy, he was giving her husband, Austin, drum lessons.
Oh.
And so we met each other that way, and through both being drummers and kind of socialites in the town and yada yada, we
Yeah.
actually started a music festival together,
Wait, which music?
the Oxford Music Festival, which was like
Okay.
mid-teens, early teens
Okay.
time, right?
Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it. I was thinking there was
Yeah.
another, the Mississippi Fest or something like that. There was one.
Yeah,
that
there
started
have been several.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
several
attempts. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
So we had that for a bit, and he moved up to Nashville to get his career started as a manager, and I stayed in Oxford for a while. But yeah, I knew him for a minute, and he and Maggie got together, and I would fill in like once a year on the gig that her usual drummer couldn't make at the time of Sarah
Sure.
Tomek.
Yeah.
And then kind of the same thing with Taylor, who was the next round,
Right.
most recently, but just kind of once a year. It's been a long journey. Where do you want me to start to really catch us up to where we are today?
Well, I'm curious about when you got it, because it seemed like they went full throttle right away once you got the gig. Right?
Yeah.
'Cause the cruise ship was first,
Cruise ship was first.
right?
I used to play in bands when I was back in Mississippi. Indie band called Young Buffalo. My first band was
Wait.
the PF Flyers. Yeah.
I know Jim
Yeah.
and like I met those guys at Oxford Music when I was a freshman at Ole Miss.
Very nice.
That's why I felt like I recognized you when you came in.
Yeah, man. That,
So you were
love
in
it.
Young Buffalo. Oh, we're having so many.
I was in
like-
Young Buffalo, and that's the same
Okay,
thing
yeah,
that happened.
great band. I went to like 5 of y'all's shows in a row when House came out.
Nice,
Like,
yeah.
I went to like so many.
That's
of
funny
the
because
local shows. Yeah.
that house was the house that we lived in.
Yeah, my band's played that house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played there
So
in the
me-
living room.
Yeah, nice. So me and
Wow.
Jim and Andy, who played bass, Olympic Music, check that out. He's so good. And Jim is Swear Tapes now, his
Yeah.
new project. But yeah, we lived in that house and we called it the Clinic.
The clinic.
Yeah, something kind of medical based. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah.
essentially it was your shitty college house.
Yeah.
Mold growing on the walls, and they would just come through and repaint it once a year and be like, everything's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all had girlfriends at the time, so we never really stayed there. It was just a party house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a party house. And then it ended up being the album cover
Yeah.
as well. It was pretty sick. Yeah.
Yeah. It was such
That's
a
cool.
iconic, like looking, like it just was that.
Yeah,
that
it's a weird
old
shaped house with a
Oxford
red
college
door.
house.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. And
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So I was playing with Young Buffalo, and you know, we did the whole world tour kind of thing, and with any great indie band, the grind gets real.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're like, cool, how do I make money in this life, right? So kind of put that on hiatus, but I was also working at the Lyric, which is what I was doing during college. I was the production manager there before it was all said and done, and I actually met a lot of my connections just being around that. My main connection that got me here was Moon Taxi,
Okay.
and Matt Eldridge, who's now my business partner. He was the tour manager at the time.
Gotcha.
They were looking for a front of house engineer, and I was mixing front of house. I was really just learning the trade in college under this guy, Kenny, who's a brilliant, tortured soul. I'll say it like that. Really smart dude. And, you know, my dad had a studio at the house, but I didn't really know sound. I mainly knew how to play drums.
Sure.
But I was just mixing front of house. Moon Taxi was looking for a guy. I decided it's time to tour in a different way, and I jumped on with them right when they were really kind of getting going
Wow.
with Too High and, you know, everything that really kind of popped them into the commercial
Yeah.
space.
It's like 2017.
Yeah, 16, 17, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I've probably seen you on tour 3 times then, or so.
In like different ways,
we
huh?
would see Moon Taxi all the time. That was me
Yeah.
and my roommate back in Boulder.
Yeah.
We would see Moon Taxi anytime they came into town. We went to Austin to see Moon Taxi.
And we do a lot of
Long time
Cervantes,
ago.
too.
Sure.
Oh,
Cervantes is
Cervantes.
so fun, man.
Yeah.
Denver is
What
a
a cool
fun
thing.
place.
It is fun.
So it's
Yeah.
good to see you guys again.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. What a small world.
It is a small
That's
world.
crazy.
Yeah.
Is Moon Taxi how you know Charlie too?
Yes, exactly. So,
Okay.
man, this is so funny because you look back at when you met people, and it's kind of like everybody at the time was like just getting started.
Yeah.
You know, and you just stay together, and then you look up again. Everybody's like kind of in their next level. You know, Dr. Charlie's in more backstages than I am, and that's yeah, he's everywhere.
He's working.
He knows everybody. You
Yeah.
know?
He's working.
So yeah, I was with Moon Taxi for a while, and I was their production manager in front of house for a minute, and traveled with them, and got into some other acts, just doing tour management. You know, I was really just trying all the things. You know, this all stemmed for this one show Young Buffalo is playing in Germany, and I was sitting on this stage. We were playing like first on the main stage, which was really sick, and I was just sitting there. I was like, "This is awesome." But what does that guy get paid? And what does this girl do? And I'm just sitting here like everybody moves around this drum set. it makes sense for me to know how it all really works.
Yeah,
It's great.
for sure.
Yeah. So that got me into just looking at other jobs from like that perspective. As a drummer, you really do watch the whole show.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
Because you're
absolutely.
behind it all. As a front of house engineer, you see pretty much everything because, again, you're from this big overlook kind of thing. And then as a tour manager, you kind of watch it from the top.
Yeah.
You know, so I have kind of this 360 view of how it all works. And, you know, I just kind of went between different jobs, but not a ton of playing at the time.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, after I made some of these ideas that we'll talk about later on, you know, Q's and TM Inc., All Access, which is a software company, I got a call to go out with Leon Bridges doing front of house.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was like another next level. Not only is that mixing front of house, but it's also capturing multi-stem every night on Pro Tools.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, so every single show, every rehearsal, I recorded everything, multi-track, and it's all in an archive that they have. But with that, it's also like, you know, you get the ability to record and play back without the band, or even play things back with the band. You know, in rehearsals, they'd run a session, I'd play it back, we'd make changes with the sound. I want the snare to sound like this. Let's make the bass sound like this, kind of thing. And then even Leon was, you know, able to come out and listen, and we all just kind of had this collective session. So I did Leon Bridges World Tour for 2 years. And this was at the end of 22. Okay. That came to a nice complete end, and you know, I hadn't played in a long time, so I was like, all right, if I'm gonna be a drummer, now is the time for me to go and do it, or I'm going to have been a drummer, which is where my mindset was. And you know, I'd been communicating with Maggie for a little while, but the position wasn't really open. And then it fully became open. They sent me the new record. It was great. They were looking for their next step, and knowing everybody in that band, you know, Maggie, and you have Caitlin on keys, Kyle on guitar, Judd on bass, and Austin's the manager, and everyone that just put in so much time in that. You know, my value, I feel, comes from just taking the idea, nurturing it, and then getting it to the next level.
Yeah. I like
right?
that.
And so that's just kind of me. You know, that's kind of what my parents are like. My mom was an educator, ran a daycare for many years, and was a school teacher, and my dad's an educator as well. And so we're just like these nurturing people who want to unlock this potential and kind of push it. So, I mean, I'll be honest, it's almost like we were dating, the conversations that me and Maggie and Austin had over a week.
Yeah.
You know, we'd call each other and be like, hey, all right.
Yum.
And I was like, yeah, I really thought about this. I think this is really what I want to do. And
Had
they're
a
like,
really good time last
Yeah.
time. When can I see you again?
seriously. And they're like, okay, cool. They're like, we're about to go on a trip. We're going to think about it. We want you to think about it. Let's talk a little bit. And then in like a week, we'll see how we feel, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, it was like a good week of just like soul searching, you know, like, 'cause this is going from the production side of music, which is pretty well guaranteed and has a pretty large scale of what you can get paid, and being a musician, as much as I love that, it's two different things, right?
The subjectivity
Exactly.
comes with the
And even
success.
just right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I love playing as my creative. I don't like to put money behind the playing. I don't really care for that. It's the feeling. It's just being in there doing the thing.
Sure.
And so, you know, I had to look at it as in terms of what I was gonna be able to do with it for the year or for this album cycle. How I was gonna be able to commit. How do I schedule my other time and all these other things that are going on? And we decided to make it happen. Of course, I auditioned, like you did, and a couple others, and got offered the job. And as soon as we did that, you're right, we kicked off. We went on a cruise, 2 cruises,
That's cool.
right? A week apart, same boat.
Yep.
Shout out to Six Man. They're doing these music cruises, and they're crushing the game.
Yeah.
But you get there, you get on the boat. They've got several stages set up, and there's a theme for that trip. The first one was a Beach Boys cruise,
Okay.
which was like
awesome.
a lot of really like different kinds of bands.
Were y'all doing a lot of covers and stuff, or was it all originals?
No, we did a couple covers just like to keep it interesting, I guess.
So it was
but
more the aesthetic was like the beach.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
The
That would be
aesthetic, the
pretty
crowd,
great.
yeah.
You're obligated to.
Yeah.
yeah, like okay.
That
you can
lineup
go on
was
this
pretty
tour, but
wild.
you gotta play
Yeah.
Beach Boys songs.
Exactly. But we ended up
that's
becoming good
cool.
friends with those guys, like
Yeah.
the Beach Boys, you know.
What a cool thing.
Yeah, and then we came back, took a week off in Miami, and then went out on a blues cruise featuring Joe Bonamassa, Bobby Rush. He's
Yeah,
a Mississippi
that's
guy.
right.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, it was at that point we were playing some of the new record. a lot of her older stuff, but it was interesting to see how we could change a couple of her songs and fit into a different theme.
Yeah.
Right? And we've pretty much been doing that all year. Just like, what is the tour? You know, we opened for Steely Dan one show. We actually didn't even get to play because of weather. But that was one we did. We did an Andy Frasco tour most recently, a couple days with them. We did a big St. Paul and the Broken Bones tour.
Yeah.
You know, get those two powerhouse voices together.
great.
Sheesh. We did a Tedeschi Trucks support date.
That's great.
You know, a couple
It's a great
festivals here and there, and just kind of all over the place, trying to just see where it fits. And it just so happens to fit everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really rewarding.
Yeah,
to
so that's,
feel that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of Opries, like one a month, you know. So like,
so cool.
as far as a steady artist, I feel really good about where we're at, especially right now.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the cruise thing, was that like, did that feel a little bit like a vacation every time y'all did that, or was it pretty work intensive?
You know, it was like 4 or 5 days the first one, and I think 4 days the next one. We would have one, maybe two shows.
A night?
Yeah,
Or total?
a day.
A
well,
day, yeah, you just like two
or
sets.
a day off, right? So,
Yeah.
say on a 5-day cruise, we probably played 6 times.
Yeah.
You know, 5 or 6 times. But yeah, it's actually pretty nice because it's all on the boat. There's a crew that moves your gear around. It's all backline.
That's great.
So you pretty much get there when the other band is done. You set up your stuff and go.
Yeah.
And then you break it down and they move it to the next spot or go store it.
Nice.
That's cool.
So I mean, I'm out of the room. I go do the show.
Yeah.
You know, I go back to the room or walk around or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a nice setup.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a nice
pretty
setup.
awesome. That
was
just
cool.
to me, that sounds like a dream gig to be playing. But I could also see how that could actually be more like work intensive and not like you're not on the cruise to be on the cruise. You're there to play.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like being hired by the cruise is one thing.
Sure.
Right? Being on kind of a festival setup is just kind of like being on a festival setup.
Right,
You just get to go to your room whenever.
Sure.
Just chill.
Yeah, you get to just kind of chill and spread out and do your thing. It was
That's awesome.
actually quite nice.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds
Cool.
super
I would be
fun.
so ill. I don't do good on boats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, you know,
Did
there
you have
were.
to do like the motion sickness
I,
pills?
The
or
Dramamine.
I did
Yeah.
pretty good, but
That's pretty
there
good.
was one show we had, and it was up in the highest venue at the front of the ship. And,
Okay.
and guess who's at the highest point furthest towards the front? Me.
Yep.
And so I sat down on the kit, and I'm playing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh boy.
Yep.
This is like the start of a 45-minute set. I was like, this is going to be different. So I like wave over to the T, and I'm like, I need electrolytes because I was
Yeah.
like, I think I might pass out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just be like, hey, you guys be aware that I might just fall over.
Yep.
Made it through, but man, it's something about being on the
It
open
gets me.
nose.
It gets me all the time.
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that was usually it was fine. There was
Yeah.
one outdoor one that was super windy. Outdoor stage, the main one.
Yeah.
But that particular one where you're at the top of the ship, at the front,
Yeah. Yeah, you're feeling the bumps.
you're feeling it
Getting
all.
the bumps.
Yeah, you're feeling it all.
There's something about boats where I've seen a diagram where it's like if you're on a boat at the top, you know, like those tuna towers on like fishing boats.
Yeah.
If there's like a 1 foot sway at the bottom, it's like a 6 foot sway at the top. So
Yes.
like it's
Yeah,
the same
sure.
thing applies. It's like because of like you know your proximity to the water. So
You're
you're like
getting it.
you're swaying 20 feet back and forth.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Tuna
see.
Tower is a great band name.
That is a great.
If
I
that's
feel like
not a
that's
band name already.
That's like a South Carolina reggae rock.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Like a Steely Dan esque, you know, like dad rock band.
That's
Yeah.
such a
Tuna Tower.
crazy genre to come to your head.
I mean, we're just putting it
Exclusively
together.
Yeah.
playing like Margaritavilles, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Only
I mean,
playing-
there's a big
Right.
space for that now.
There is. There's money.
That's
there.
true. It's
R.I.P.,
true.
my guy. R.I.P.
Yeah. R.I.P. That's a Mississippi legend.
Yes,
a
exactly.
cool one.
Yeah, there you
Faith
go.
Hill, Oprah
Yeah.
Winfrey,
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Many-
Jim Henson.
Are they all
Yeah.
Mississippi?
Yes.
Really?
Mississippi
Yeah.
produces
I
a
didn't
lot
know.
of talented people.
Yeah. We just like run and then we'll come back.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
leaves.
We like leave and then we're like, by the way, I'm
Right.
from
I am from
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. Well, actually, that's a great little segue. What about let's go all the way back. What are some early influences for you? Like when you got into drumming, I'm sure your dad, obviously being a percussion teacher, like was probably an
Yeah.
early
Absolutely.
catalyst
You
for
know,
you to get into it.
This is almost, it's like romantic in a way.
Okay.
In the sense of, it's like romanticism, let's say that. Not romantic with my dad. I love that dude.
To clarify.
To clarify. But, you know, my house, we always had a studio of some sort, always had a drum set. And then with him being a percussion professor, we had like a marimba, a xylophone.
Sure.
He also started the first steel drum band in the Southeast in the late 80s.
That's cool.
So there's always a steel drum around. So just all of the instruments. And he had a really good habit of practicing at night. And so I would go to sleep to like music down the hallway, like beautiful ballads and things.
That's so cool. That's cool.
And so that was really nice. And then after school, I would come home and, those little disco lights, there's like a light bulb in the middle and then the orb that just has different colors.
Sure.
Put that on in the studio, cut the lights, headphones on, and then, and I'm playing, Fatboy Slim and Kirk Franklin and Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
A lot of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys because, right?
Yeah.
A lot of pop music. Santana and Rob Thomas, that Smooth. Whew.
Yeah.
Boy, I blew that one up in
Sure.
a 7th grade talent show.
Sure.
It was like my first performance. Everyone knows that one.
Yeah, I forgot
know?
about that fill. That's a.
How did you forget that, Phil? I mean, that is
As soon as it started playing in my head, the fill started. I was like,
Exactly.
it's been in there
Exactly.
the whole time.
a lot of that,
That's awesome.
So just between gospel and oldies, a lot of war, a lot
War,
of
okay.
local
Yeah.
stuff
Good
too.
one.
Yeah. Sanders Bulkey and Color Revolt. These are all people from Mississippi that
Yeah.
you just happen to know. Blue stuff,
I know
just because.
Sanders' mom,
Oh, nice.
Connie.
Oh
Miss
yeah,
Connie.
She's so sweet.
She's the sweetest.
She's so sweet.
She's the sweetest. Yeah, Connie
Amazing.
Sanders. Is
Right?
he still in New Orleans?
No, Sanders is in Birmingham now.
Oh, okay.
He's got
Is
a couple beautiful kids. He just put out a record. We talked about a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that? That project that he had with that other guy. I'm gonna forget. They were making like a clothing line together or something, and it was like a joint thing. Amazing. I'm gonna remember it.
So
and we're-
you're talking about Adrian?
I think so.
Okay.
They had a project together that was like, I feel bad even bringing it up because it's so good, and I'm not gonna remember the name of it.
I can't think of the clothing brand necessarily, but I'm pretty sure you're talking about Adrian because I also played in his band as well.
Okay.
That band was called Avenue Hearts.
No, it wasn't Avenue Hearts. They were building some sort of like there was a brand, and then they had like a band, and it was like the same name as their brand, and it was when he was in New Orleans. But anyway, really good R&B, like super
Yes,
good R&B,
exactly, yeah.
very like modern production and
Yeah.
stuff. And I wore that thing out. Like Miss Connie told me about the album. She's like, "Oh, you're a musician. My son's a musician," and then I went and listened to that.
And
thing.
he's a freaking music. He's a fucking
Yeah.
star.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
a really good musician.
All right.
Yeah.
Your son is very good, man.
Right.
But yeah, man, just like growing up in that Oxford scene,
Yeah.
we had there's a lot of good indie stuff happening at the time, and we had a couple studios there that were cool.
Yeah.
Fat Possum is there, which is the label, but
Yeah.
they had a few studios, and I would record
Tweed.
in Tweed.
Yeah.
Andrew Ratcliffe is a good friend, really good friend. He's an investor of mine as well, and so we're good friends. He's got a great actually live studio analog studio school in Athens, Georgia, called Tweed. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's
So
actually like
sweet.
a 17, 18-week program that you can take.
Yeah,
It's like a vocational school. It's sick.
that's so cool.
Yeah, he's got a lot of great gear over there.
Yeah.
And it's analog and actually digital as well.
Is,
So
he, is he still running Tweed in Oxford?
no, I mean he moved his whole
He's
operation,
moved his whole operation.
to Athens. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so now Tweed is not just a studio; it's a studio school. He's got
that's cool.
He's actually got 3 labs in there
Really?
with full consoles and a bunch of gear. Yeah, sick spot.
Takes a
tried
lot
to-
of time to build up.
It does, absolutely. I mean, as we're finding out, all this shit does.
Yeah.
And, like you want
That's
to
true.
be a musician? See you in 20.
Yeah.
Let me know how you're
Yeah.
doing then.
Years.
Totally.
Right? You're like, well, I'm a real estate agent now, so. But I still play guitar. I still have that guitar.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, even Sweet Tea
And Sweet Tea as well.
that- I mean,
with
that
Dennis.
was-
That was one of my early experiences as
Yeah.
my dad took me in that studio, and I think that was about the time they were doing Modest Mouse.
Yeah, the Modest
That
Mouse
record we all love, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post Pavilion by
Yep.
Animal Collective was done there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
History like that was a really really historic studio.
It was a rich town, man. You never knew you were gonna see. Elvis Costello did a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Then we had like Dent May, who's a fantastic performer and musician. And did you ever go to the Dude Ranch? You ever heard about that spot?
I've heard about it. I never went though.
Dude Ranch was it was another band house, right?
Sure.
This ranch style house, and it had this gigantic covered deck, and they used to do shows out there. I saw Grimes out there, like early Grimes.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of just really hip indie bands that were just getting started at the time were just popping through there.
What was that
Cool.
where like Whitney, when they started coming through town, they
Yeah,
were like,
exactly.
yeah. That was, man, early on, seeing them at Proud Larry's and
Yeah.
like getting to talk to all the members. That's the cool thing about Oxford, is that so many cool bands will hit up Oxford,
Yeah.
and they'll come to the Lyric or they'll come to Proud Larry's.
Exactly.
And because of the size of the town, you get like a proximity to the artist that you wouldn't normally get.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, in some cases, Oxford gets shows that even Nashville doesn't get. You know,
Like what?
I mean, okay,
I hear your sentiment.
You understand what I'm
I
saying,
understand what
though,
you're
right?
saying. I
Maybe
do.
because sometimes Nashville will get overlooked on a tour randomly. I found that
Understood.
I've lived in
That's true.
Nashville and I've lived in Denver,
Yeah.
and I find that it's one or the other that gets the show.
Right.
I don't know why it's those two towns, but
There's some truth to it. I know some bands that went to Chattanooga before they went to Nashville,
really,
which is pretty surprising.
I guess it's like your demographic too. It's like if you have a lot of college age people,
That
then
might be
you
true,
get to
too.
the
I can see
college
that.
town. Yeah,
Right.
I can see that.
That might be true.
But yeah, you're right with that proximity effect. I remember because I was working at the Lyric, and I also did a ton of shows at Larry's, so I was just kind of on the inside on those. But I was a production manager when Pretty Lights was getting started, right? Remember seeing his early shows, Luke Bryant, Eric Church,
yeah.
Casey Musgraves. That's like one of my star shows. She came through, performed to 200 people. I got her to sign at the time an actual CD jacket.
so
to Tim, love Casey. I got that one at the house.
That's great.
I remember Janelle Monáe came through, opening for Of Montreal, which is an interesting,
Cool lineup.
cool lineup. But they pulled up, and this is where I get a lot of my professionalism from, right? It's one thing to just like be on the stage, but like there's a means to who you are even in that space, right? You can still
100%.
control what that narrative kind of is.
Yeah.
Their support, but they pulled up in this beautiful, clean black bus. The tour manager gets off in like this fitted black suit, you know? They came in and crushed that show. And during the sound check, I was standing in the room. Nobody else was in the room. And we had a moment. She was singing. I was standing there. We
Oh,
had a
there
little
was a little eye
There's a little.
contact?
I'm telling you, I missed my
There's
chance, but I'm still
something
here.
special happened.
Yeah,
You're still
You're
here.
still around.
Janelle,
Yeah.
still here.
That's right.
We'll tag her in the. We'll clip this and
Yeah.
tag her in it.
She'll be like
A few times.
She'll be like, I remember you, or she'll be like, nothing.
Who the
Crickets.
hell?
Crickets.
Yeah.
Man, the Lyric is a great venue. So many
Yeah.
great people came through there.
Good
Yeah.
venues. Good venues go a long way.
They do.
They do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I really think I firmly believe that your venue, your quality of your venues is a big part of what's going to define like how good of a scene you have.
Big time.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's
kind of
Colorado.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have good venues, you can have a good scene. You know.
It's your culture in there
Well
too.
run,
You know,
yeah.
I was the production manager, but I was 22 at the time, maybe
Yeah.
23. I was the oldest one on our whole production crew. Everybody else was like younger than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get these bands come through and they'd be like, cool, you guys are the team. We're like, yeah, do you want to do a show or not? Right?
This is who you got.
Right. I mean, we were pro. We were there. Like, don't look at the age.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like,
Look
you
at
know
the
what you're
results.
doing, you know what you're
bands
doing.
aren't still coming through here if we're not good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's get past that. You decide if you want to unload your gear with these loaders that I lined up for you and you want to do the show, or we can talk about my age.
Right.
Yeah.
You let me know.
Take it easy.
You let me know.
Did y'all have a standalone front of house guy at the time, or was that kind of a shared job between different people?
We kind of move it around.
Moved it around.
Yeah. And that was kind of when digital consoles were really kind of coming on the scene.
Yeah.
Now, you had like the Yamaha, not CL, but yeah, whatever the first Yamaha digital console. Y'all know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. The M7.
Jackson knows what you're talking
M7CL.
about.
Yeah, right. We
pretty
got
sure.
we had a
Beyond me.
Yamaha analog and then like a Midas Verona, which is 48 channel
Yeah.
with some outboard gear.
Yeah.
Which is a great way to learn the
Sure, it's a
skill
great
in
little
general
setup, yeah.
because you physically know how things are going in,
Yeah.
right? You can see how things are actually routing. You have really no options for really what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you can make some good sounds there, then you can get in the box, you know,
Sure.
what we call get in the box, right?
Yeah.
And make anything sound like anything. So-
Having the physical signal path is
Yes.
a really important part of the learning.
and then running
process.
monitors there as well.
Yeah.
Actual wedges. You know, there's a lot that just went into how it all worked, you
Yeah.
know. And actually a lot of guys, I guess of that crew, A few guys are doing like computer programming and things like that, or just home studio stuff. But one of the greatest opportunities that came from that is my buddy Will Eubanks, who also toured with Moon Taxi, also was a Young Buffalo, played keys, also had a home studio, and is from Oxford. He's out with Bailey Zimmerman now doing monitors.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
That's awesome.
we're graduating into these these big spots. Yeah.
I liked what you said as well about the sort of like leveling up thing where you check back in with people, and that, and like what you were saying about thinking you're ready. And then, you know, I think Taylor and I have both in the last year, 2 years had those moments ourselves to where we're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Whereas like I was living out in Denver. I went out there on kind of a whim. I was like working at a studio and playing in a band and trying to just like figure out where I was going to fit in, and realized that there was kind of a few people sort of running everything in that world, and it was going to be hard to break into. And I thought, you know, I went to an audio engineering program here in Nashville in 2020. I got there and I was like, okay, I came out of school, so that means I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know, and then, right? Like, and then we all collectively laugh. You know, it's like, oh yeah.
He's
sure,
like, oh, you ready?
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
Go
And then,
sit on it for a year.
yeah, and then I'm like, you know, you're broke the whole time. You're like, I'm so far away from my family and everybody.
Yeah.
And like, I had a few Oxford friends that were out there, so that was kind of my connection, was through Mississippi people actually that I knew that were already out there, and they played in my band with me. And so I had friends, but it was like, you know, I'm way out of my element here. And then I decided it was time to go back to Nashville because there was just more opportunity here.
Yeah.
And it was funny coming back here and taking like those 2 years of lessons and then condensing them into like 8 months of last year of just like all of that stuff applied at once, and then seeing how quickly I got results.
Yeah.
When, you know, I spent 2 years learning lessons, and then I got into a better environment where there's more going on.
Yeah.
And then it's like 6 months, 8 months of applying all of those lessons, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's not like it falls in your lap, but like things start falling into place, and you're like, whoa, I had to learn a lot for things to really come together for me. Had I tried this 2 years ago, I probably would have fallen flat on my face.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I took 2 years to go learn it somewhere else that was like a worse environment, you know,
absolutely.
industry wise.
There's a lot about the environment too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my uncle always talked about when he first graduated from college, he went to some like small mountain town in like Utah or something where there wasn't like a big economy. He was like, yeah, I moved with the intent of just getting a job and then I was going to work my way up. But it was such a small mountain town that there was just nothing going on. There wasn't an economy. I couldn't even find a job. So he's like, and this is right before I moved to Nash. And he's like, yeah, Nash is kind of like the perfect place to be. I say this like every day for real estate and for music. It applies to both things. But it's just so crazy how booming it is here in Nashville. It's not only just like dense with really like entrepreneurial people that are trying to go far with what they're doing. It's not only packed with that, but the ceiling is higher too. I had a lot of one of my teachers that I looked up to kind of most in Colorado. He moved to Nashville because of that ceiling. Like in Denver, people make it out. If they're working with good people, they'll make it out. Make it out, whatever that means. But it's kind of harder to do, and it's more just like scattered little bursts, bands that will pop out from time to time. But here it happens all the time. Yeah. It's wild to see.
Especially the people that you know. It's
super cool to see. Yeah.
Well, that's also kind of the thing about Nashville, right? It's as much as it is the industry and the grind and all that, it's also like very much your community.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you
you're
just
working
end up in the same space with X person all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of that effect to where, you know, you want to be around these people. You're not trying to utilize what everybody has, but in a way, we're all sharing the same resources. So it's always just good to be around so that when you need something, you can rely on a person. Hey, do you know so-and-so can do whatever? Yeah. But all that starts with just being out here, being yourself, working on your grind, right? But also being that community person too, going to the jams, or just being out and doing stuff, or
Just going to shows.
or going to somebody's house, or moving a piano with a friend.
Yeah.
Put me in the room with Joy Ladakun. We put a piano in her house, right?
Sure.
So these just like these little things. We moved a whole console into Brittany Howard's place, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That's so
these are people who like
cool.
live in your neighborhood. I mean, they
Yeah.
live like within half of a mile from
Yeah.
this location. You know what I mean?
Did the Brittany Howard's?
Yeah, I
Really?
mean, but that's the thing. Like, you never really know what it is.
Yeah.
You just kind of show up and do a thing, or you go on a bike ride with a group and fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
the president is there. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, shit, what are you doing here? He's like, man, I like to just come and chill.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Right?
I think that's something too that a lot of people and probably in learning those lessons is like, and you've said probably 5 examples of this, where it's like it's not looking at somebody that's ahead of you to pull you up.
Yeah.
It's looking at the people around you to go up together, because everybody makes little leaps and strides in their own world, and then you cross-pollinate and you help each other make little leaps and strides together.
And my buddy that hired me to do those jobs, Nick Bird, he's got Bird Finds, which is a gear exordium.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That man is talented, but he also plays bass for Bully.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He was in Lonely Biscuits, and I met him on a Moon Taxi tour years ago.
Yeah.
So we've been just kind of boys for a minute, but watching him grow and getting his thing, and him pulling me into that world, opened me up to new people, and vice versa. It's all of that.
Yeah.
All of it, because you continually run into the same people,
Right.
at
Keep
different
seeing-
levels in your careers.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't really have that base or that friendship, then you're just kind of out there twirling around, and it doesn't feel real, I guess,
Yeah.
right? It's because at the end of the day, when I get home off the road and I'm chill and I'm caught up and I'm rested, you want that camaraderie. You want your friends, right?
Yeah.
You just want to do normal life shit like everyone else is doing. And so you have to kind of rely on it. You got to take care of your relationships, but also, know how they play into each other and support each other along the way. Yeah.
I was thinking about that when I was doing. I was reaching out to other people to be on the podcast, and every time I reach out to someone that's like doing really good, like you are, or
Thank you.
the other,
That's sweet.
the other people that are like succeeding in Nashville, they're really good at communication.
Yeah.
They're really good with texting back. They're really good with like directly answering what you're saying. Or it's funny, like Jake Summers, when he did a clinic here, he did like a rhythm section clinic.
Yeah, great guy. Really
And
nice.
That's what everybody says because it's correct.
Okay.
Because that's like
I was like, where's this about to go?
I've never heard anybody say something different.
Yeah.
Because that's just who he is, and he's a good texter. But it seems to be a consistent thing with successful people in Nashville.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm not wasting your time. You know what I mean? I have plenty to do.
Yeah.
And I
believe it.
appreciate you being so flexible leading up to this, because this is like
sure.
the 4th time we tried to
You're fine.
plan it. And this is the right
I'm
one, because we're
stoked
going to
to
get
have you.
snowed in together. And
Yeah.
we're just
The
gonna
power
sit here
to
and
get to
play
know each other.
drums.
Yeah, we're stuck in this building until Wednesday.
Day 3.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming.
We're on our last camera battery.
Yeah.
It's
We're burning our clothes for warmth.
24-hour episode.
Yeah. We're doing a marathon episode.
Welcome to the marathon.
Yeah.
The number on below the screen. Just click there and donate. Thank you so much.
Totally.
Yeah.
Trying to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that flexibility, like, it's good to be responsive, and that's something I'm working on. I'm
No, you're good at that.
I'm so like bogged down with stuff all the time that I feel like that's something that
You're
I
good
could
at
work
it.
on. But I think that like being flexible with other people too, like. I think it's really good to learn to not take things personally if people are busy, because everyone in Nashville is busy, and it's like if somebody can't get back to you, it's not because they think you're stupid and they don't want to talk to you.
No, people are busier resting in this town.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah,
here,
that's right.
or
Yeah,
you're not here.
just
You know what I mean?
asleep. Yeah,
It's like, I'm in
That's
Nashville,
true.
but I'm not really on the ground yet. I'm
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
kind of floating around after this tour. Give me a week, and I will hit you back. I promise.
So we talked a lot about music and like your background and everything. What about on the business side of things with Q's? How did that come together and like run us through that?
Yeah, so
I'm really interested
let's
to
go back
hear
to
that.
2020. A hell of a year for everyone.
Something crazy happened.
Pretty nuts. I don't know exactly what it was in the water, but there was something in the water. I had a lot of free time on my hands. I was
Something
trying to
over
figure out
everyone.
what to do, right? Q's came about. I don't really know how it came down. I went to school for civil engineering my first year of college. I've always wanted to be an architect. I'm a very like write down design kind of guy, including clothing, which is another one of my businesses. Drippissippi is what this is.
Oh, awesome.
With the hat, which is a collaboration between me and Kid Off the Grid, who's a local guy here, who's a designer, but he's also the tour manager for Nate Smith.
Oh, okay,
Right.
cool.
So everybody's in music. Everybody also hustles.
Yeah,
Those are
everyone's
my
got their-
people.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
that's us. Q's came about because I was just looking. I like to draw and doodle and just all kind of stuff. I got an SPD because I was straight up locked in the apartment and just wanted to kind of up my level of playback and production and things of that nature. Being a drummer, there's so many ways to go about it. There's so many types of gigs you can get, and so I wanted to be as ready as I could for anything. So I got the SPD to just try to learn it and how it worked. And you look at this beautiful machine, and you have these large blank spaces
Yeah.
that do great things, but you have no idea what's
don't
under
tell
there.
you.
Like
Right.
I have no
They do.
idea
Yeah.
without going through. And so I was like, I just want to at least label them, right? Most people use gaff tape. You can't use it directly on there because it doesn't stick. So people make a
Yep.
grid, and that's great and all, but that's just visibility.
Yeah.
It still doesn't really get the job done. So I was just trying to find a way to use a material that we already use in the industry to just move that along. So when you know it, your standard sticky sticks to that pad so well, as well as drum heads, as well as mesh heads,
Yeah.
if you use those Remo mesh heads, right?
Yeah.
So something that we all use in this industry every day actually turned out to be the perfect thing to make it happen. From there, it was just making a design that made some sense, At the time, I wasn't even using the SPD. I didn't really know all the true functions, but I was like, people use it for playback, so let's just go with your standard play, pause, stop, advance, go back, and then just some cool shapes to write on, right?
Yeah.
So I started with that and put some colors on them because I just like colors. And then I also do like a non-color version as well, and then they glow in the dark. And so all in all, it just turned out to be a really cool project that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah.
Those are always good projects.
Try to keep it so simple. And I'm actually really proud of how it's kind of organically done kind of nothing because I haven't pushed it.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That means
that's-
it's working.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's
So,
demand
I mean,
for it.
just kind of, I like to prove ideas before I really go full time. And
Sure.
at this point, it's about to go into its second gear, and we're going to put out a newer design that's got more visibility under blacklight, and as well as a set for keys and your general, Akai pads, and however you program and fire off your show. We're making all those little shapes and things so you at least know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And in the worst case, the next guy or girl knows what they're fucking doing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's Q's, the original, on Instagram.
Where do you?
And I actually brought you guys a set as well.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, hell yeah, I did.
Dude.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
They're,
much.
they're in my jacket. I'll bring those.
That's
You're
awesome.
the best.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
How do you print it? I'm just curious.
Well, I can't give you all of my intellectual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Fine.
even say it if you don't want to.
No, I mean, I work with a manufacturer to get it done
Okay.
because of scale and the number of
Yeah.
Sure.
You just print
stickies
in
are.
bulk.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, dude.
But yeah, I ship them. It's a Nashville idea,
Yeah.
made for the worldwide artist. So, and I ship them out of my house. So, hit the Instagram, Q's the original, buy you a couple sets. I'll send it to you. And I still write on the package with my own
Oh, you did?
handwriting. Yeah, man.
Right
It's
on.
that personal touch.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely.
It's that personal touch.
People love that.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's good to see a real person's handwriting.
It is. And shout out to everybody who's using those.
Yeah.
We got Kevin Murphy, who's with John Party, is playing my buddy Andrew Grasso, who plays with Gail,
Uh-huh.
is using them as well, and a handful of other people. shipped some to Germany. I think I've gone to Denmark, Canada,
So cool.
New Orleans, which is its own country as well. And
It is.
you know, and just a couple people around the States. It's been fun. And I've got them on the racks and at Forks here in Nashville, as well as Tour Supply,
Okay.
just right behind the counter.
Nice.
Now, you don't have to divulge any secrets here, but when you got the idea, how much like research did you have to really go into to figure out like how are we gonna make this? You know, like that would be my first thought is like the idea can come really naturally, and then you're like, oh, how did the
Yeah.
Everybody has
wheels on the
ideas.
ground?
Yeah.
Ideas are, man, I have so many of them. I literally have to choose the things. Like I write down a lot of stuff. I got a lot of voice notes for songs, you know, like I'm always one to put down an idea. But something I've kind of recently gotten into at this stage in my whole life is how to prioritize things, number one.
Yeah.
Mainly yourself first, and like the people around you, that's very important. Take care of yourself. And then the projects as well. You know, you got to know when to put in the right amount of effort into them. You have to know when to put things on pause. You got to know when to move things around, and it's really down to timing.
Yeah.
You know, back to timing.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing wrong, and it's interesting too, because with all the businesses that I have going back and talking to other people who are more successful than me that speak into me, you know, I tell them, hey, I'm going to put this project or this project on pause. You're an investor, so you need to know, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? That's great, right? That's an awesome thing to do, that you know when to stop it or pull it back.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of control that comes in being able to control not only your emotions, but your time and your mental energy as well, right?
Absolutely.
So all that to say, we're getting into a spot now where things like Q's and Dripicippi and, you know, All Access, which is my tech company, you know, all of these things are in a much better spot now. Looking back at last year, it was really kind of the year where they were all just kind of, we let them simmer for a bit because I was doing Maggie, but I needed to get back to that creative space,
Yeah.
right, in order to get more creative in all of these areas.
Sure. Yeah. Everything needs its attention and its.
And you'd be
proper time.
surprised, you know, all of the first prototypes that I made were a lot of materials that didn't really work, right? And actually where we are now is so much simpler than what my first ideas were.
Really?
Yeah, it's so much easier to produce the exact thing that they need or that I see,
Right.
as opposed to what it was before.
Yeah. So it didn't need to be over-engineered.
No. You definitely had to prove it, but when it comes down to it, we landed in a really good spot. Maybe it'll change again at some point, sure.
Yeah.
As all things do. Or maybe we just fucking nailed it. We'll find out,
Yeah.
right? Either way, keys are ready.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to the future. What do you have on tap for 2024?
Yeah,
What
this
are you
year,
kinda looking at?
you know, like I was saying, is about putting things into play at the right time with the right energy. Maggie is doing really well. That's kind of my star right now.
Sure.
Kind of what's leading the charge, and I'm making myself really available to that. That record comes out in April, and you know, that's gonna do what it does. It feels really good. We don't know exactly how it's gonna turn out, but we started the first show of the year at the Ryman, playing an Opry, and I mean, that's sick.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome.
So if that's the start of the year,
We're looking pretty good.
we're doing okay. Yeah.
for sure.
So that's going to be really fun. The creative part and getting out to play, I'm very excited for that. Q's, as we said, we're about to launch that into its next phase. Dripicippi, which is my Mississippi-based clothing brand. We do seasonal drops on that, and I'm about to do more of these sweatshirts.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
out for that,
and yeah, keep up on my Instagram on that one.
Yeah.
We should see if we could do some sort of partnership with Garden Groove.
Yeah.
If you want. I mean, if even at the very least we could get like a little promo on the
Yes.
bulletin board that we got in the coffee area.
Yeah. Absolutely.
promo
Thank you.
for it.
I appreciate that.
Because I like it. I love a good sweatshirt.
I love a good sweatshirt.
I can rock a good sweatshirt.
You know, the key to fashion is putting your things on things that people like to wear.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Make something people want to wear.
Yeah.
They wear it. They
God
buy
forbid.
it.
But it's not
Yeah.
even like it's not even what they want to wear, it's how they like to wear things. You know what I mean? For instance, if I'm doing crew shirts, or crew sweatshirts or jackets. What kind of jacket do you wear? You
Right.
know, the logo's all the same. If you want to wear blue jean, then wear blue jean. If you want to wear some other material, you know, that's what I do. We got hats and shirts and jerseys and, you know, it's all seasonal because, again, I feel like the demographic is either someone who wants all of it or some people who want something at a time, right? That's clothing in general.
For sure.
Right.
It's very seasonal.
And then we've got TM Inc., which is my largest project, and I'm the co-founder of that. We have this technology called All Access, which is your standard event planning software. Okay. Right? I say standard because it's not about finding the way to advance shows and to share schedules with your tour team, right? It's really a way to do it kind of top down.
Gotcha.
And so with a founder friend from Oxford, Tamara Sherbini, who is a senior programmer in Denver, actually. Oh, cool. And Matt Eldridge, who was my business partner. He's the TM and LD for Moon Taxi. Mm-hmm. He's actually managing Marty Schwartz now. Okay. And another founder, Brandon Jazz. We created the All Access Advance, which is another one of those 2020 kind of project ideas, you know? And that's in a really good spot, too. I'm the CEO of that one. So that's not so much creative anymore. That's actually very much administrative and business. Yeah. And so I've got that in a really comfortable spot, and I feel good about what that's going to do this year. And we're going to get out with more artists and more venues. You know, we currently work with the Basement East. They're using the software. Cool. We do some consulting as well, venue design. We designed East Side Bowl over. Oh, yeah. We did that venue over there. Shout out to that team.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. You know, I told myself I was going to be on or around the stage. Yeah. Like, that's it. Yeah. You know, that's where I'm going to be. And with my background, you know, I've got a finance degree and just the love of music and the skill set there, you know, I'm just doing my best to try to relate and give other people opportunities to do their shit. Yeah. You know, I'm a dream maker because people have helped me along that too. So I just want to make something that people can use to get where they're going without the focus being on me. Yeah. You know?
That's cool. And you're sleeping like 2-3 hours a night or so?
Dude, that's what I was going to say.
Man, I'm doing a full 7 to 8 now. Like, I prioritize that shit. I'm telling you.
That's good. You should.
Like, you got to be a master at compartmentalizing things and
my days are pretty nuts.
We're going to do a part 2 about time management.
Yeah.
Just a whole separate.
Get a whiteboard.
Yeah, we're going to get a whiteboard in here.
The whiteboard is key. I will tell you that.
Whiteboards are great.
I got 2 in my room.
Yeah, exactly.
It is very
helpful. The whiteboard is key. And that was another thing that I picked up from some friends in Oxford. Yeah. You know, like, you got to put that shit on a whiteboard. You have to see it. Yeah, you know, I love writing stuff down.
Visual.
Yeah, like, there's a lot going on here, but until you really put it down, it's just clutter. It's flying
around
a cool
in your head.
Clutter up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Like, what does your normal day look like?
Okay, a typical day.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just curious.
The alarm goes off at 8.
Okay.
But generally, I wake up naturally like 10 minutes before. Yeah. It's annoying.
Your body's ready.
Yes. Like every day I'm awake. I'm like, I know what time it is.
Yeah.
8 o'clock, we get up. We don't do any meetings, really any reach out until 10. So I take the morning for myself to just kind of do my thing, just get me ready for what's happening.
I love that.
10 o'clock, we jump into the day, and we're doing meetings, or we're going to do visits, or we're traveling, or, you know, it's whatever you got going. And then nowadays, I'm trying to cut it off at a responsible time in the afternoon, like 4 or 5. Yeah. Good. Sometimes 7. Yeah. 8. It depends.
Yep.
But I try to prioritize definitely the rest, definitely the personal time, because that helps with your other relationships that have nothing to do with music and business, i.e. romantic relationships, family, whatever. And then other than that, just trying to make sure I stay up on whatever I said I was going to do. You just got to be accountable to it. Sure. You know, there's a lot on the list. There's a lot on the whiteboard. Yeah. But let's plan what we're going to do today. Let's plan out who we're going to talk to about what. And as long as you do 1 or 2 things or however many in that amount of time that move you towards it, I mean, that's all you got. You just got to keep moving, you know, slowly if you want to, fast if you can.
Yeah.
Not at all if you need to. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Just give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, and really learn how to say no to yourself and to other people when you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be huge.
Prioritize your own mental well-being so you can keep going.
Yeah.
Because that's that's huge.
Sure.
Well,
so crazy.
we have a few rapid fire questions we always hit people with. Three main questions is what we've kind of narrowed it down to. That we ask every guest.
When you say rapid fire, does that mean I need to answer quickly?
No, you don't. No, I just say rapid fire because we ask them like back to back, and we
You have
try
to
not to
talk
go on
double
tangents.
speed.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
We try our best not to
I'm
run
ready
into tangents, but sometimes we do.
Go ahead and light it up.
Okay. I think I probably know the answer to this, but favorite record that you have been a part of in some capacity within the last year?
Favorite record.
Or recording experience, just something you've worked on musically
Yeah.
that you're the most proud of.
We have something coming out soon. It's not out yet. With Maggie, we filmed in the caverns.
Oh,
We did this really
so
cool,
cool.
yeah, really cool live session with the string arrangement, and that's with Nikki and Mason, and they're great directors. They really put this cool vision together for this album release, and that shit looks good.
That's
Oh, I
awesome.
bet.
Yeah, and it's like you watch. It's funny because I find myself when I'm playing music, I will zone out and I'm listening to music, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm playing this song.
Yeah.
I'm playing this music, so then I like come back. But
Yeah.
I went back and watched that just to kind of see the rough of it, and there's some magic in there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Question number 2, we collect food recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
So best like hole in the wall or well known Nashville food spot. What's your go-to?
My general Sundays are otaku
Okay.
ramen. Yeah, they just
yeah.
reopened the Nashville, the East Nashville one,
Uh-huh.
where you
Sure.
can actually go in and sit over on Douglas.
Oh.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Also, my good friend is the executive pastry chef over at Thompson House. So all of the pastries over there
Okay.
at Marsh
Thompson
House,
House.
Thompson Hotel, excuse me, Marsh
Thompson
House.
Hotel. Okay, Marsh
Yeah.
House.
So anything over there. She used to bake at Bottle Tree.
Okay. Yeah.
So go over there and get your brioche and shit like you used to.
Yeah. Bottle Tree's so good.
Bottle Tree Bakery in
Oh
Oxford,
my
Mississippi is my key number one hole in the wall spot. It's
There you
not
go.
Nashville.
You got to go to Oxford for
Yeah,
that.
go to
though.
Oxford, go to Bottle Tree. I used to go in there, and that's like my first place where I would go in and write down business ideas
Yeah.
and develop most of the shit that I'm on now.
Sure.
You know, just getting that routine down.
You ever had that
Yeah.
rosemary bread that they make? They have
Yeah.
like this rosemary bread that's just
Yeah.
Oh my
You don't even know.
You don't even know.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't
have to
know.
go down there. We'll have
I'm
to
not a
take
part of this
chance.
Oxford thing that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Taylor needs to go.
Yeah.
You need to go. They have a place right by Oxford that's the same name as you too. They have a Taylor.
Okay.
In Taylor,
Yeah.
Mississippi.
So it's meant
Taylor,
to
Old
Also
Taylor.
good there.
Yeah.
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 And then Ajax, of course, which
Ajax.
is another Oxford
Yeah.
original.
Yeah.
That's
gosh.
another one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We'll be
Those are
getting
my
Taylor
go-tos.
down
Sure.
there soon enough.
right.
We're
Yeah.
gonna take
Get in
a
the
little-
car,
Yeah.
go to
do
Oxford,
it.
Ajax, Bottle Tree
Ajax.
Bakery.
Yeah.
Those two.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, so here in Nashville, that's gonna be Otaku. You said
Otaku ramen, baby.
Otaku ramen. Got
Absolutely.
it. And then Marsh House.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, and then final of the rapid fire questions. We always ask people if somebody were to be listening to this that's like trying to get into something that you do, you know, what would your advice be to somebody that's just looking to get started? Whether that be starting a business or being
Yeah.
a drummer, you know, kind of what would be, what's the first step that maybe you wish you knew?
Yeah. Man, you really got to embrace the failure. Yeah. Like it's going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So let it happen, right? And when it does, just don't be surprised. Just document how quickly you learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was first starting to mix, Moon Taxi put me in hard. They were like, "You're the front of house guy. We're doing shows. Let's go."
Yeah.
First show was second main stage at Lollapalooza.
Wow.
Huge. Now let's be honest. I was an engineer, but I didn't fully know. I didn't know yet. I just got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they put me on that one. And at the time, Nick from Walk the Moon was a special guest, and they were hot then. So I mean, they really put me under quick.
Yeah.
And then the second show we did was at Ascend, opening for My Morning Jacket. I was using somebody else's file, and the guitar was coming up in a channel that was hella compressed.
Really?
I figured it out like halfway through the show, and my dumbass took out the plug in the middle of the song, and all of a sudden it's just like guitar from nowhere.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is with people in the audience. Yeah. And so again, I figured that out. Hit the fader, but yeah, you gotta, if you want to be in the game, in your game, at the top of your game, it's gonna be it's not even public, but like people are gonna see it.
Yeah.
And even in that, it's the grace around how you move on to the next success. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how do you get back to that win again?
Yeah. Keep going. How do you pick yourself up?
I like that.
That's great advice, and so pertinent to every day. I feel like
Oh, dude.
I'm embracing the potential of failure.
Bro, every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every time.
A few smacks in the face before you
You're
wake
just
up.
like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
I mean, I showed up to the airport like 10 minutes late and stood in the wrong line and missed a flight. And I was just so upset with me.
Yeah.
I was just so mad. I was like,
I know that
how
one.
could you do this?
Yeah.
I know
You're
the
supposed to be
missing
a
flight
professional
one.
at this. What
Yeah.
happened? I'm just doing the full thing. And then actually it's funny because at the counter, and this is a great thing about just being receptive to people, whether in your field or not. One of the bad guys was like, what's going on? It looks like there's a lot going on. I was like, man, I missed the flight. I'm so disappointed. He's like, man, everything happens for a reason. Like, seriously.
Sure.
Having a heart-to-heart with the bad
yeah,
guy.
it was,
That's
but it was
awesome.
so necessary because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm freaking out in my mind, just like, bro, come on. And the guy's like, there's something behind this, so just let it happen.
I like that.
Right?
There's good in everything.
Yeah,
Like, good that happened.
there is something that's gonna happen on the other side of your worst,
Yeah.
right?
And on a side note, I love those interactions where you're having a tough time and a stranger
Yeah.
like gives you a little word of encouragement. Like, I couldn't tell you an exact time that's happened to me, but it's definitely happened. And
Yeah.
you're like, wow, I needed that. Like,
Yeah.
in that moment, like, this guy has no idea who I am
Yeah.
or like anything about me, but
I mean,
He had
that
that-
plays
that-
both ways too, you know?
Yeah, you
like
can
it's
pay that back,
It's
too.
fun to throw those out.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
I saw a guy in Walmart today. He was looking great outfit. Sir, killer outfit.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
Right?
My
I don't know,
girlfriend does that
right?
every time we go out. She's like, I love your dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always so
good to be
excited.
nice to
like, you
people.
like my
Hey,
dress?
it makes me feel good too, you know?
Yeah,
I
that's the whole
love
point.
just throwing out, like you feel that.
Yeah,
Whatever it is,
for
it's just
sure.
kind of, you just get a little, I needed that, you know?
It costs
true.
$0
Yeah.
to be nice to people.
Yeah,
like,
to
make
like
people
be
feel-
here and engage with everyone else who is also here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
Very true.
Well, on that super uplifting note, thanks so much for coming on. I
Yeah.
feel like we covered a lot of ground, and that was so much fun just going over everything you're doing.
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you. This is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Let's figure out how to set these cameras
Yeah.
up to show your
Yeah, we're
your
gonna
invention,
we're
Okay,
gonna,
I'll do that.
and then we'll do a little jam,
yeah,
Okay.
play some notes.
play some notes and check out this looping situation that you got going on.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah,
This has
thanks
been
so much for
this has been
coming on.
killer.
You're the man.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right.
Moving on.
Phase 2.
So this is Q's, C-U-E-S. Q's the original on Instagram. You can do your ordering from there as well. Essentially a stick-on labeling idea. The package includes a little cleaner. You just wipe off the square, peel it off, stick it on. You can write on it with your Sharpie, as I did here, and other materials as well. And then they also glow under UV, so you can see them at night. In this particular setup, I'm using this SPD more so for click than anything. So I've got my play, pause, stop here on the bottom. Here you can go in between the different kits or the different scenes just by using your stick. And then up top, you can actually tap tempo if you need to change something on the fly. So the section I'm about to play now is for Maggie Rose's new single out, Underestimate Me. In the live version, it starts with this bass and drum kind of groove. Then I fire off the click and I transition into said click, then it goes into the song. So yeah, I'll just kind of demonstrate that. Again, I can go in between my different scenes using this. So I'm going to go to my Underestimate Me scene. I'm going to start the groove, hit the click, and then start playing to the click.
kind of lead.
Okay.
I kind of stick to like simple chord progressions and like riffy stuff or like ambient stuff. You know, just kind of something to beats to chill and study to.